Chris, another fight, and it's another big one. What does this fight, and it might be a hard one to answer, but what does this fight mean to you? We know what it means to everybody on the street, as you said there, but what does this mean to you?
Simply keeping the Eubank name in good stead, representing the dynasty, representing the history, the legacy, all these words that have been used so many times, not shaming myself and my family. So in that sense, it means a lot. But you also have now a new meaning for me since the first fight fell through, Conor being caught with performance-enhancing drugs in his system. The other big meaning is showing that if you cheat, you will not succeed. You will not get away with it. You will not be forgiven. You will be made an example of. You will be embarrassed. That is what I'm pushing, because there are a lot of kids that are going to be watching this fight. There are a lot of kids that know what he did, know that it was blamed on contaminated eggs, know that he's never apologized, know that he's never owned up to what he did. And they need to understand, the kids coming up need to understand that if you act like that, and if you do these things, there will be consequences, and you will not win, and you will not have a successful career afterwards.
So you think you have almost a duty of care to deal with Conor?
For boxing, exactly. Outside of, forget the names and the legacy and the beef, this is for boxing. This is for all the clean fighters out there that have grafted their asses off their entire lives and never made a fraction of the money that Conor Benn's going to make, who is a drug cheat. This is for them.
You said in the past you cannot forgive what his dad put your dad through. What are your early memories of the Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn rivalry?
When it actually happened, I was too young, but as a youngster, 10, 11 years old, being introduced to those fights, watching them on a VHS tape for the first time at a friend's house, that's when I really understood what it was my father did for a living, which he always kind of tried to keep away from us, from his kids. I watched that fight, and that was my kind of introduction to what he was and who he was and why he had all this attention everywhere we went. And that's always stuck with me, that watching him go through that amount of pain and stress and blood and tears, that was an inspiration for me to actually begin boxing myself. From that day, I kind of always wondered, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I could ever be in something like that, do something like that. How crazy would that be? And just over the years, it kind of just stuck with me until eventually I told him, listen, I want to do it.
How many times have you visualized this fight over in your mind?
You visualize the strategy, the tactics. You watch your opponent, you try and find mistakes and flaws in what they do. So I can't really put a number on that, but yeah, there's been plenty of times where I've ran the scenarios through, and every time I've thought about it, it's ended with me having my hand raised.
And in those visuals, is your dad present at the fight?
That's a good question. No, because he hasn't shown an interest. He's never given me anything as of yet, and I'm still kind of holding out on it, as crazy as this sounds, even 3 days before the fight. He's never given me anything to work with, to imagine that he might show up. So it's always been me on my own, which is unfortunate, which is sad, whatever you want to call it. But, everybody goes through these things. Families are never perfect. Everyone has their issues. Everyone has their tough times. Unfortunately for me, the tough times are happening at a moment in my life which, it shouldn't be. We should be together at this, especially at this particular moment in time. But, he has the things going on in his head, and no one can tell him different, unfortunately. It's not really for me to worry too much about it. I understand the situation I'm in, and I understand the job I have to do. And anyone who's not going to support and help and aid that path that I'm on, I have to kind of just tune them out. And unfortunately, my father is one of those people.
Does this feel like another day in the office, or does it feel different?
It is another day in the office, but it does feel different. The energy, the hype, the interest. This is not just boxing. This is now the British public are involved. I'm walking down the street and it's, people that haven't watched fights before are asking me about what's going to happen. What round should I bet on? I hope you win. Old ladies, kids. The interest for this I've never seen. I've never seen anything like it in my career so far. So in that aspect, it's different. But once that bell goes, absolutely, it's the same as it's always been. Nothing will be different. It will be, what I have trained for it to be my entire life. That will never change. And I'm excited.
Just the back of that, have you noticed a big shift in not so much popularity, but more fame and attention since these fights have been announced?
For sure. I'm actually having to walk around when I go out. I put a hood on. If I'm going out to eat, I wear a mask and a cap. Otherwise, I can't get to where I'm going to. It's a new. Well, it's not new. I've always been known, but this level, this intensity, people are passionate. People are screaming, people are shouting from their cars, knock him out, get him. People are invested in this fight. It means a lot to a lot of people. I will say this: I have served my time. I have dedicated my life to this sport. I have gone through the fire countless times. And I've never cheated. I've never cut any corners. He cannot say these same things. So just on, the strength of personalities and morals and, who we are as men, he can't beat me. He needed to take those performance enhancing drugs to get to where he's gotten to. I never had to do that. So the mindset says it all. My mindset is just, it's too superior to him and what he's capable of. And that's where I get my confidence from.
And lastly, what can you promise the viewers watching live on DAZN?
I think this fight has the potential to be, an all-time great British fight. It could even surpass what my old man did with Nigel. If we go out there and do what we both say we're going to do, it has the potential to do that. So I'm excited for the fans. They're going to get to see something which is, it's not even once in a lifetime. It's never happened before. And it can never happen again. So tune in.
Chris, thank you very much.
Okay.